But let it be known by all of you that it's part of the duty of the Speaker to protect the micro minority. Honorable members, they rose up in support of him. Yes. So let's listen to him.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, with respect, I shall, in response to what you just said about your duty to protect the micro minority. Mr. Speaker, the rules of this House provide for the minority and the majority. Mr. Speaker, we do not have any micro minority. Mr. Speaker, the minority caucus hereby protests. Mr. Speaker, we protest the description given to us by Mr. Speaker.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
But let it be known by all of you that it's part of the duty of the Speaker to protect the micro minority. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, is also part of my duty. Honorable members, honorable members, may we have some calm. The minority leader is on his feet. Let's listen to him. Well, they rose up in support of him. Yes. So let's listen to him.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, with respect, I shall, in response to what you just said about your duty to protect the micro minority. Mr. Speaker, the rules of this House provide for the minority and the majority. Mr. Speaker, we do not have any micro minority. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the minority caucus hereby protests. Mr. Speaker, we protest the description given to us by Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this practice of when we are on our feet, the majority will on the mic, it's not acceptable. Mr. Speaker, it's not acceptable. We are Democrats. You put off my mic. Listen to me. Mr. Speaker, we find this unacceptable. Mr. Speaker, we seconded, the minority seconded your proposal and the motion for your election. Mr. Speaker, when the so-called majority was even conspiring against you, we protested. We stopped them from that conspiracy. Mr. Speaker, it was us, the minority of conscience. This minority is the conscience of this house. Today, the so-called majority could not get its members to come to the house. 61 of you are absent. Mr. Speaker, we don't accept the description micro-minority. We are minority. Simplicity. Mr. Speaker, please, kindly, Mr. Speaker, describe us as such. We are the minority. We are not micro-minority. I so submit.
Honorable members, this is not subject to debate. Please, this is not subject to debate. Please.
Sit down.
Please. This is not subject to debate. The minority leader, on behalf of the minority caucus, has objected to my describing their caucus as micro-minority caucus, and that this is a term that is unknown to the rules of the House. He is totally right. Honorable members, I will say that he himself misled me, because he himself has used the term micro-minority.
Mr. Speaker, you know, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I know you miss your days. You miss your days as a
honorable members. The objection is to the fact that it should not be formally so recognized by the records of Parliament. I agree with you. And so it should not be used by the Speaker, but it can be used by the leaders.
Mr. Speaker, we are getting the impression, Mr. Speaker, the minority caucus is getting the impression that Mr. Speaker may be assisting the majority. Mr. Speaker, because you seem to be doing their debate for them. We are the official minority. There can't be any other description, and it shouldn't be used by anybody on the floor of this house. You cannot even use that term. It's not only Mr. Speaker. You can't use that term micro minority. From today, nobody should ever use that term in this house. Nobody should use that term in this house.
Honorable members, the minority leader is saying that I should not protect them. Is that what I'm to understand?
Speaker, we're saying that protect the minority. We are not, Mr. Speaker. You see your man. Mr. Speaker, you see what you are doing to us. Mr. Speaker, we protected you. When they were conspiring, we protected you. So protect us. We are the minority. We protected you. In fact, but for us, you wouldn't be the speaker. Yes. It's because of our protection. That is why the president-elect had to issue a statement. Yes. We protected Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, please. Let me just hear from you, so that I will not be seen to be denying you your right to be heard. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 123, 2A and B. Mr. Speaker, the preamble of my, just on a lighter note, just a few weeks ago, just hold on, just few, Mr. Speaker, just few weeks ago, my good friend was protesting heavily for being referred to as minority leader. But you were not. But today are you? Mr. Speaker, and the order says that, and I read, a member shall not use offensive, abusive, insulting, blasphemous, or unbecoming words on a member or any other person, or B, impugn improper motives.
Please.
Other person. Mr. Speaker, my colleague suggested that the majority was conspiring against you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have it on record when the minority leader at political functions was describing you in words that can never be used on this floor, and said, Mr. Speaker, that the greatest injustice to Parliament was to elect you as Mr. Speaker. You said that on political platform. Today, a 10-quote minority leader is now pretending he loves you more than the people who actually you belong to. We can tell you this. Mr. Speaker, I live, Mr. Speaker, and I know you've got the tapes and the videos. But what I will say is that for the fact that he described us as conspiring against you, he must actually withdraw that part of the statement now and apologize to us.
And apologize.
And Mr. Speaker, hold on, Mr. Speaker, he described us as the so-called majority. Look at you this way and look at this. Is this a so-called majority? Do you describe this as a so-called majority? This is a proper majority. And this is, Mr. Speaker, the size of this, let me repeat, the size of this looks like my district assembly. The size of this looks like the size of my district assembly. Do you like that one? Mr. Speaker, he must necessarily withdraw. This side did not and will never conspire to do anything against you. If there's if the last group of people who undermine you, Mr. Speaker, will not be this side. If there are other people who do it, we can guarantee you get our support today, you get our support tomorrow, because you are doing the right thing. So he must withdraw.
Speaker, I am grateful that you recognize me. Just to share a few words. Speaker, Kwame, so Kwame, are you telling me to sit down? Can you tell me to sit down? Joke. Speaker, you can't tell me to sit down. In this house, the rules that we use. You can't tell me to sit down. Get the attention of the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for recognizing me. First of all, the order my colleague quoted, and if you read further, order 1, 2, 3, if you read further, subclause 3, the inherent condition is stated there. It will lie in the mouth of the Speaker to determine if indeed those words were used. I hope you recognize that. Then again, going beyond that, Speaker, going beyond that, I am 4th term in this house. This, would you listen to me? Would you listen? Speaker, would you listen to me? Speaker, 4th term in this house. This is the first time. This is the first time, and I'm saying this in context. If you pay attention, you get the context in which I'm speaking to. This is the first time President-elect has to issue a statement, more or less whipping you to nominate the President, to nominate Speaker for the position of speakership. Why? And that's very revealing. It was because there were things happening at your backyard, and the President-elect picked the due intelligence. That is why he had to come out with that statement. This has never happened. So for the leader to say that all was not well at your back, the evidence is all over. And in fact, it took the minority, it took the support and the consent of the minority for us to elect the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if there is on both sides, Speaker, on both sides, if there is any side that you should be careful, it's the majority. You should be very careful of the majority. They were the people who were planning for you not to be elected. So please, don't miss the point. Thank you. Don't miss the point. It took our blessings for the Speaker to be elected. So stop boasting. It took our blessings. Speaker, back to the point. So order 1, 2, 3 should be quoted in whole. My good friend Honorable Abuja should quote order 1, 2, 3 in whole. Order 1, 2, 3 subclause 3 is clear, and we don't need to belabor the point. We don't need to mess it up. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a house of records. One doesn't need to quote any order of the standing orders to buttress the point that a statement that should be made on the floor, more so from a leader, should be a statement that is anchored on facts, not conjecture. Kids are watching us. The entire globe is watching us. Most importantly, this is the first sitting of the ninth parliament. Now, if you have the second sitting, if you have a leader of the house who would make statements that are absolutely conjecturing, it's scandalous, to say the least. But Mr. Speaker, this argument is occasioned by the fact that someone wanted to be called a particular name or added a title which is unknown to the rules and proceedings of this house. And I wanted your guidance that if anybody decides that he wants a particular name to be added or title to be added to his name, everybody knows that I don't want to be identified as honorable. I want to be identified as comrade. And Mr. Speaker, the 6th Parliament, I rose here and I said that I didn't want to be addressed as honorable. And then Right Honorable Speaker told me that the identification of members here was honorable. And I remember you called and advised me and made the same point after sitting, that the title honorable is title that is given to those who are members of parliament or ministers of state at the time when they are actively performing the function. So if someone decides that he wants to be identified as a warrior, maybe perhaps we should have been informed that that warrior title and the actions to support that name was prepared to be unleashed on Parliament and the people of this country. But, Mr. Speaker, we are still aware that in this House, when we were electing you, they commandeered armed military men into this chamber in violation of the principles of democratic governance. They attacked, Mr. Speaker. They attacked. Look, I'll be heard anyway. Mr. Speaker, it was an attack. It was an attack on the sanctity. Look, I will make that point anyway. Mr. Speaker, it was an attack on the sanctity of Parliament. It was an attack on the Constitution of Ghana. This conference, there is a difference between Parliament and Executive. Maybe somebody did. We were not perhaps, Mr. Speaker. Our government ought to be informed that no. Should retract that. Sit down. Should retract that. Mr. Speaker, maybe perhaps they ought to be informed that Parliament and the legislative arm.
Honorable members, please kindly resume your seats. I think we have tested the waters enough. Today is the first sitting. Today is the first sitting of the first session or even first meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. What happened yesterday was the first meeting. So when you look at the standing orders, it says when the House first meet. And in that meeting, the first person to preside over that meeting is the clerk to Parliament. That meeting is not yet properly constituted Parliament. You are members of Parliament elect, and when you graciously elect a speaker, he comes in as a speaker elect until sworn in by a person who by virtue of that condition is present on the floor of the House, just for a ceremony, and that is the Chief Justice. Then the person becomes Speaker. And then the Speaker now swears you in. So our standing orders refer to that as when Parliament first meet. Now, if you go through the standing orders, you see that they describe today as the first sitting. So that's what we have. The second point is that during the era of the military regime, at that time, the head of state was General Ignatius Kutu Achampong. He said, as for rumors, he has no problem with rumors. The problem he has is the mongering. The mongering of the rumors. Now, why? Is it one person mongering the rumors? All of you are mongering rumors. And so a decree was passed against rumor mongering. We are not going to do that in democratic Ghana. And so as you monger your rumors, be sure that the Right Honourable Speaker will take them with a pinch of salt. I know that the term I used was not taken kindly by the minority caucus. And so I acknowledge that. and I decided that it will not be used officially. And so the Right Honorable Speaker will not use the term micro-minority at all in reference to the minority caucus. I recall in the first parliament of the Fourth Republic, the caucus I belonged to at that time was referred to as populous majority, and it was used. Maybe because it was edifying, it was accepted. Today, we will not use a term that is not edifying. So I will not use it. I will not use it. I say I won't use it. Now, yes, so
Mr.
I
Speaker,
said that the minority caucus does not. Honorable members, you don't catch the eye of the speaker by begging the speaker. Please don't beg me. Do the proper thing and you catch my eye. Please. But let me give my ruling. Please. That is what I'm doing. That is why I started by saying the testing of the waters is enough. We have all tested the waters, the majority, the minority, and the speaker. And that is enough. So we leave it here. We have a lot of work to do today. A lot of work to do today. We have had pre-sitting meetings. The minority leader was not present at the pre-sitting meeting. So his rep was the minority chief whip. And we discussed a number of issues which we will convey to the House, because it's the House that is to take the decisions. So there are key decisions we have to take today. Don't let's use the whole day in correcting votes and proceedings. Please, this is the end of the exchanges, and I'll proceed. I'll proceed to let us end the correction of votes and proceedings. Please. Honorable member, I just used a phrase, and that phrase was explicit enough. If you conspired at all, you conspired in favor of me. That I know. You don't just conspire against, you also conspire for. Yes, so the word conspiracy is not all negative. There are positive things about conspiracy. Yes, so please, I did state that clearly, that you did not conspire against me. So, we will proceed. We will proceed to do what is right. Please, in the absence of any other corrections, the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 7th January 2025 are hereby adopted as the true record of the proceedings of that day. Honorable members, let's now take item 6. Item 6. Statements.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV. I see say a lot of people are moving from the traditional media to the social media. And PENDREAM, you are setting the pace because you bring the issues as they are. And the those are the issues. And then Unipa are not ready for just ordinary endorsement. But people want to hear the issues. What are the issues? What are the possible solutions? So for me, I'm endorsing PENDREAM TV. And I'm recommending say, Obi Biana who feel it's traditional media and why you're bored with it, I'm going to live up to expectation. Your next last stop, PENDREAM TV.